Hello everybody, and today is 3/14, it's Pi Day, and welcome to Enjoy the Movies, where I, Nam, put in my 2 cents about movies. So, let's just start. A bunch of movies that I want to talk about today. They're all family appropriate. The first one is actually a documentary called The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. Second one is B-Movie, comes out, I believe, came out this past week on DVD. And Enchanted, which comes out next week on DVD. So all of them family appropriate. And let's just start with the first one. Now, a few weeks ago, I got interested because I heard about this documentary called The King of Kong. And, well, when you try searching for it on IMDb, it comes up with King Kong and all the other variants. So searching for the subtitle, A Fistful of Quarters, actually brought it up immediately because there's nothing else called A Fistful of Quarters. So anyway, King of Kong. This is a documentary about video games. Not just any video games, but classic video games. So if you're a huge fan of classic video games, definitely recommend watching. Now, when I say classic, pretty much like old arcade machines like Donkey Kong, Q*bert, Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxian, Space Invaders, all that sort of things. So pretty much this is a documentary about getting the high score in classic Donkey Kong. Now, the main players that you learn about are Billy Mitchell and Steve Wiebe. Billy Mitchell was actually a famous, and still is a famous video gamer who, attained seemingly inattainable high scores way back in the day. So, and the other person is Steve Wiebe. And he is a challenger, basically, who in recent years, when I say recent years, probably in the past decade, has pushed up the limit to which Billy Mitchell and the Donkey Kong high score has gone. So anyway, talks about these two gentlemen, their history, what the current score is at, especially if you watch the special features, because between the making of that film and the current high score, something happened. And also talks about Twin Galaxy, which is the website. If you actually go search for it, it's a website which keeps track of official, classic game high scores. So it's very interesting. Definitely recommend if you're a gamer. If you're anybody else, or if you don't care about games, or if you just like history of technology, this is a very interesting watch. If you don't care about games, don't worry about it. So anyway, that's that. Next movie I want to talk about is B-Movie. Now this movie, if you've heard of it or seen the trailer, it is the movie where it's an animated movie about bees, and Jerry Seinfeld plays the main character's voice. Needless to say, I felt this movie was not that great. So pretty much there's Jerry, and then there's Renee Zellweger, and Matt Broderick, John Goodman, Chris Rock. So you got a lot of big names there. Kathy Bates, Larry King makes a short cameo. Ray Liotta makes a cameo as well. Sting, he's in there. There's so many people. But, needless to say, despite the fact that there's so many famous people in this movie, it did not make it good. The animation quality, very high. Story sucked. So, where do I start? Okay, Jerry's character. It seems like he's got a lot of one-liners throughout the entire movie, so it doesn't seem like he's talking with anything or anybody, with the exception of the one scene where his B character is talking with Zellweger's human character, and that's probably really the only good conversation I felt in the entire movie. So, there's that. The society that developed in the bee culture, it's, I don't know, it seems okay. It doesn't seem quite true to the whole bee community thing, but then there's also, there's this point later where you see the bees actually interacting with the human world, and it's so absurd what goes on, because all the humans just go on as though these bees are people for the most part, and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem entertaining, and it just seems like you know where it's gonna go, and it's not good. This movie is just plain bad. I feel like the only good thing about this movie are like the couple of good jokes in it, and that's pretty much it. And well, Renee Zellweger did a great job. All the other characters didn't really show up enough, in my personal opinion, to actually be able to judge. But Jerry was very bad. No offense to Jerry Seinfeld. He's a funny man. I don't think he's cut out to be, a voice actor. So needless to say, B-movie, I thought it was terrible. Don't watch it. It's not worth it. You're probably better off watching movies that you've probably already seen as far as good animated movies go. Ratatouille and Surf's Up, my personal favorite. So there's those. If you go further back, Cars, Toy Story, of course, is a classic. But anyway, so needless to say, don't worry about that. I don't think it's that great. Okay, last movie on the list is Enchanted. Now, Enchanted is this movie about this fairy tale princess in this fairy tale world. Starts out in two-dimensional animation, drawings. And the premise is something happens and she gets thrown over into the real world, i.e. New York. And I don't know where they were going with this movie. Now, when I was watching it, beginning is very bad, very cheesy, very lame, nothing eventful happened, and that was it. Now, I'd heard a couple good things that, it was good, blah, 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 and I didn't see any of that for like the first half of the movie, maybe 3/4 of the movie. So, anyway, towards the end, it got a little bit better if you like fantasy, stereotypical fantasy or cliche fantasy. It's very reminiscent of that to some extent, but it also has a slight romantic comedy twist to it. So, needless to say, most of the movie sucked. The ending wasn't too bad, but it doesn't save the rest of the movie, honestly. I probably wouldn't watch it again. The only reason why I would watch it is because Amy Adams is fairly attractive in my personal opinion, and she plays the main girl. So, there's that. And everybody else in the movie, I don't know. And then there was song and dance. Now, okay, this is a Disney movie. There aren't too many Disney movies without song and dances, and this is no exception. So, there's a lot of cheesy, ridiculous song and dance scenes. Doesn't fit, doesn't work. The only real thing I liked about the movie is how they dealt with the logistics of having a cartoon character that just crossed dimensions and adapting to the modern world. So that's pretty much it. I mean, everybody else seems pretty much like themselves, and the characters didn't really change that much except for Giselle. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's really not that much to say. It's not that good. I wouldn't watch it unless you really love cutesy things or, really like cheesy Disney humor, song and dance, and all that jazz. But, yeah, just forget it. Alright, so let's just recap. King of Kong, documentary about video games. Good. B-movie, animated movie about bees, starring Jerry Seinfeld. Bad. Enchanted. Bad. That's all I got to say. There's really not much else to go on. So, alright, anyway, hopefully that helped. Unfortunately, it was a very bad week bad couple of weeks for children's movies. Sorry, families but you'll probably be watching them anyway because there's nothing else out. So, alright, enjoy the movies and have a nice night.